Hello, everyone. I'm a sportscaster. I need it loud. Hello, everyone. Thank you. That's very well. Good. I am Lou Holder, Emmy and Telly Award-winning broadcast journalist and an executive in residence here at Bowie State University. Welcome to the oldest HBCU in the state of Maryland, under the direction of President Dr. Aminta Bro, who you will hear from later on today. Part of my role as executive in residence is to bring high-profile speakers and conversations to the students, faculty, staff, and Bulldog community. Today's speaker series topic is one that has found its way into every corner of our existence as human beings, and that is the topic of emotional wellness and mental health, in particular student athletes. The title of today's conversation, Strength Beyond the Game, is a title I heard while speaking on a panel discussion given by Competitive Edge EQ, a nonprofit organization here in the Washington, D.C. area who advocates for all things surrounding the emotional wellness of student athletes. Every play counts and every emotion matters is the tagline of Competitive Edge EQ, and founder Lisa Leonard is here and will talk about the impact her work is doing in the local communities fighting for the minds of our athletes. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and as I just mentioned in the topic of mental health, emotional wellness, which I will kind of use interchangeably throughout the next couple of hours, has found its way in every conversation. You don't need to go far, and you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who has not been affected directly or indirectly when it comes to this topic. In the world of sports, what used to be a topic that was once rarely talked about is now talked about more than ever. Swimming icon Michael Phelps, gymnastics icon Simone Biles, tennis star Naomi Osaka, former Washington Wizards guard John Wall have all come out sharing their stories when it comes to the challenges and victories about mental health. Those are the ones that have platforms to talk about it, but what about the ones who don't? The pressures of the student athlete have become greater and greater, so much more greater than when I was a Division I soccer player playing for Rutgers University in the late 80s and early 90s. Yes, that's right, I did used to play soccer. Balancing academic demands, athletic commitments, personal challenges, many of them coming from social media, have found their way and have taken a toll on mental health. This Strength Beyond the Game gathering will feature two dynamic panels and conversations of people that I have handpicked to shed light on these topics. The pros, a chat with some who have played ball at the highest level professionally and have lived the student-athlete experience. The practitioners, a chat with some experts and advocates supporting mental performance, wellness, and development. This gathering will also feature a candid one-on-one conversation called A Parent's Perspective that is sure to make you think long and hard about the importance of emotional wellness and mental health. The high impact and this high impact town hall conversation will not solve all problems, and it will not address all the issues that are out there, but it's my way of starting conversations that I hope will continue. Bringing together leaders in sports, mental performance, and leadership to discuss strategies for prioritizing emotional well-being and achieving success both on and off the field will be the top takeaway of this gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Bowie State University, Dr. Amusu.
Thank you, Mr. Holder. Let's give him a hand, another hand, please, for this introduction. Good afternoon. I want to also acknowledge the Division of Athletics and Dr. J, where are you? With your team. Let's acknowledge Dr. J, Dr. Williams. She brought the whole team, the coaches on the back. You see the line back there. Thank you, coaches, for bringing student athletes out. So as I was introduced, I'm Dr. Amusu. I serve as the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Bowie State University. And it is my pleasure to welcome you here today for today's Competitive Edge EQ Speaker Series conversation. This is an important topic. Strength beyond the game, every play counts, every emotion matters. And we're delighted that our student athletes, can you wave your hand, please, if you're a student athlete? Be proud, wave. Well, thank you for coming out. Thank you for being here. I would also like to begin by thanking our distinguished speakers and panelists for being with us today. I also want to extend a very special thank you to Professor Holder, who kicked off with us this speaker series this year. And I see that some of our panelists from the first panel are back, and we're grateful for your presence. Let's give a hand to all the speakers, please. Thank you for bringing together, Mr. Holder, such an outstanding panel and the voices of those leaders for today's conversation on emotional wellness, leadership, and success beyond the game. This conversation is especially timely as we observe Mental Health Awareness Month. Across higher education, colleges and universities are seeing increasing number of students experiencing stress, anxiety, and burnout, and other mental health challenges. In fact, national research found that nearly 68% of college students reported that emotional and mental health difficulties negatively impact and affect their education performance. That statistic reminds us of something important. Mental health and student success are intertwined. That statistics, as an educator, make us often think that or consider the academics is on the side, but they're all together. And their impact grades, retention, graduation, and career outcomes. Behind everyday assignment, exam, presentation, and milestone is a student balancing pressures that are often unseen. They have to travel. They have to submit assignments. They have to do all that together. Many students are navigating financial stress, family responsibility, uncertainty about the future, social pressures, and the ongoing challenge of maintaining their own well-being. And while these realities impact students broadly, they can be even more intensified for students athletes. Our students athletes are balancing the demand of college life while also carrying the expectation of competition, training, travel, leadership, and performance. They are expected to excel academically, represent the university with pride, and compete at a high level while managing the same emotional and personal challenges many students face every day. This is why today's conversation, Strength Beyond the Game, is so powerful and so timely. The start of that conversation. It challenges us to broaden our understanding of what strength truly means. Strength is not simply endurance or performance. True strength includes emotional resilience. It includes knowing when to seek support and not be ashamed of it. And it includes creating communities where conversation about mental health are encouraged rather than avoided. As we think about what it takes to sustain that kind of resilience, through pressure, expectation, and uncertainty, we are reminded by Mahatma Gandhi that stated, Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. To our students, thank you for coming out. I encourage you to listen closely today. Take in experiences and wisdom shared by our speakers and panelists. Let today serve as a reminder that caring for your mental health and emotional well-being is not a weakness. It's an essential part of your success here as a student, your leadership, and your future. Thank you again to everyone for being here, and let's have a conversation. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Musu, for your leadership in the area at Bowie State University. And now it's my honor to introduce the president of Bowie State University, Dr. Aminta Bro.
Thank you, and good evening. Bowie State University. Is wonderful to see you all out here tonight for such an important program. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome faculty, staff, students, alumni, and friends of the university to our historic institution, the oldest HBCU in the state of Maryland. And I think that deserves a round of applause. It is indeed my honor to welcome you to this program, Strength Beyond the Game Speaker Series. And I have to echo the Provost's comments about having the amazing leadership that we are fortunate to have here at BSU in Professor Lou Holder. Would you give him another round of applause? Mr. Holder graciously agreed to serve as our executive in residence this year, and what an amazing effort he has made and continues to have such an enormous impact here on our campus. And I want to thank him for the series that he's been able to enact, bringing outstanding speakers who are definitely having an impact on our campus community. Welcome to our speakers. We're so fortunate and thankful to you for being here and being part of tonight's program. To our student athletes, I'm so very proud of what you bring throughout the year, your strength, your fortitude, and just your outright bulldog spirit. I've been fortunate to be able to enjoy the games and watching you compete, and you are truly amazing student athletes, and I'm very proud for what you bring to our campus community, lifting up the bulldog spirit. When we think of student athletes, we often picture strength, discipline, determination, and success, and you are all of that and then some. We see the packed stadium, the championship celebrations, the school pride, and remarkable talent. What we sometimes don't recognize are those many, many sleepless nights that we know that you have because you are pushing yourself, sometimes beyond the boundaries of where you should be. And as someone who holds a PhD in counseling psychology, I know from where I stand that that is not where you want to be. Creating balance in your life is where you want to be. Yes, pushing yourself as a student athlete and as student first in achieving academics, but you also need to recognize that you are a human being and we all have our limitations. Knowing where yours are so very important so that you can identify when there is a need for you to step back, pause a little bit, and as you know, we use that metaphor and that analogy of flying the airplane, you know, when the altitude drops and the mask falls out from the ceiling, what do? You put that on you first. So I want you to keep that image in your mind as you go forward to find the right balance. And only you know where that is. Yes, test yourselves, but make sure that you are balancing and taking care of yourselves. Student athletes carry a unique responsibility. They are expected to excel in the classroom while also competing at the highest level in their sport. Their schedules are demanding. Early morning workouts, classes, practices, travel, games, and studying all mixed together. Many feel that you must constantly prove yourself over and over and over again. And in the middle of all that pressure, mental health can suffer. Anxiety, depression, burnout, and stress are real challenges for many students, and especially student athletes. According to the American College of Sports Medicine, approximately 30% of women and 25% of male student athletes report dealing with anxiety, and only 10% of all college athletes with no mental health conditions actually seek mental health professional care. That's a problem, and that's something that here at BSU we are trying to do something about, and making sure that we raise awareness about these issues, making sure that our students are taking care of themselves physically and mentally. True strength is recognizing when help is needed and having the courage to seek it. At Bowie State University, we offer free counseling services through our Office of Counseling Services. We provide a confidential space to help our students manage anxiety and stress and plan for the future, and access tools that support them while they are students here at BSU. What we do know is that we must change the conversation surrounding mental health and athletics. We must create environments where athletes feel safe and not stigmatized, speaking about their mental health challenges. We must encourage our student athletes toward balance rather than perfection and performance. And that is why we are here today. The discussion we are about to hear includes the voices of leaders in sport, mental performance, and leadership to discuss strategies for prioritizing emotional well-being and achieving success both on the field, in the courts, and actually in your everyday life. Together at BSU, we can build a culture where athletes feel empowered to prioritize both performance and peace of mind. And here on the campus, we replace the silence with support. We replace that stigma with understanding and pressure with compassion. When we protect the mental health of our student athletes, we are not only helping them succeed in sport, we are helping them to succeed in life. And so let us make that time now to have the discussion, to listen, and to equip our student athletes to be successful and healthy on and off the playing field. I mentioned I have a PhD in counseling psychology. I also grew up in a sports family. My father was the coach of Olympic track and field athletes. I grew up in a sports environment. So I've seen firsthand how athletes can perform at the top of their game and also what it takes to get there and the toll that it can take. So I'm asking today that we have this impactful conversation. Let's come into this space to share important insights so that we can lift up our student athletes, lift up our community, because we can serve as the beacon for our entire community if we're willing to have the courageous conversations today. So welcome to today's program. Thank you for being here, and welcome to Bowie State University, the oldest HBCU in the state of Maryland. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bro, for your amazing leadership and what you've been able to do in the time that you've been here at Bowie State has been phenomenal, and we thank you. Yeah. All right, now to our first conversation with the pros, but with a little bit of twist. I have a little bit of twist. What I like to do with all of my programs is I like to empower our students with experiential learning opportunities so they can be able to be empowered themselves. And so I have selected some Bowie State students, some of our very own students, some in my oral communication class that I teach here at Bowie State University to help me with parts of this program. I say to myself, if experience in public speaking and things of that nature is so important, if no one's going to be able to give you the experience, how are you going to get it? And so I have told my students and the people that I have asked to come up here, this is what it's like. You know, some we got to meet and go over the script and everything like 5-10 minutes before. That in my business is called breaking news, right? And so this is what happens. But it's all about projecting yourself. It's all about the confidence that comes. A lot of the students that I teach will never go into broadcast journalism, but what they will do, they'll be confident enough to speak in front of public places because they have done it in my class. They have done it in my class. And so I picked some athletes and some non-athletes, people in my class. So ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Peyton.
Hi everyone, my name is Peyton Swinton. I'm a sophomore sport management major here and the newest member of the volleyball and tennis team. I will be introducing our panel one speakers, the pros. First we have Eton Thomas. He is a former NBA player, author, poet, and social justice activist who played 9 seasons in the National Basketball Association with teams including the Washington Wizards and Oklahoma City Thunder. Following his professional basketball career, Thomas dedicated himself to writing, advocacy, and community engagement. He is the author of several books focused on race, justice, and social responsibility, and is a nationally recognized speaker on issues of equity, civic participation, and youth empowerment. Through poetry, public speaking, and activism, Thomas challenges audiences to think critically about social systems and to become active contributors to positive change. Mr. Lawrence Ham, currently Vice President of Business Development at Events DC, Mr. Lawrence Ham promotes Washington, D.C. as a premier sporting events destination, helping bring events such as MLB All-Star 2018, ACC, Big Ten, and Atlantic 10 men's basketball tournaments, NHL Winter Classic, City Open, and the Capitol Hill Volleyball Classic, and just recently the NFL Draft coming to the National Mall next spring. Mr. Ham is no stranger to the sports world. He played 6 years of professional basketball through Europe, 4 years of college basketball at Towson University, and won a Pennsylvania 4A high school state championship. After officially retiring his basketball uniform in 2012, Lawrence joined Under Armour as Associate Manager of Sports Marketing, where he managed marketing campaigns and events for the basketball division at the high school, college, and professional levels. Lawrence is the creator and CEO of Ham Camp Incorporated, a nonprofit basketball and life skills camp based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, offered free of cost to the city's youth since 2009.
Lawrence is on his way. He had a high-level meeting with the Washington Commanders in the new stadium, and so I said, yo, take care of your business. So he is on his way. Next one up, Peyton.
Joshua Morgan Sr. is a nationally respected former NFL wide receiver, coach, mentor, and performance architect whose career bridges elite professional football, championship-level program building, and transformational community impact. With more than 15 years immersed in the NFL and over a decade shaping athletes beyond the field, Morgan brings a rare combination of professional excellence, academic accountability, and leadership development. Morgan's leadership and service have been recognized at the highest levels. He is a 2-time NFL Community Service Award recipient, 2009-2010, a Washington franchise NFL Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, and an NFLPA Byron White Award nominee, honoring excellence on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. In 2013, the District of Columbia officially proclaimed Joshua L. Morgan Day, recognizing his extraordinary civic engagement and youth advocacy. Todd Bozeman is a record-setting college basketball coach, community leader, and mentor whose impact spans from the Pac-12 to the heart of HBCU basketball. He is an all-time winningest head coach in Morgan State University's men's basketball career, amassing 167 victories from 2006 to 2019, while transforming the Bears into a MEAC powerhouse. Before his historic run at Morgan State, Bozeman rose to prominence at the University of California, Berkeley, where he became the youngest head coach in NCAA history to lead a team to the Sweet 16 at just 29 years old. At Cal, he guided the Golden Bears to 3 NCAA tournament appearances and coached future pros and multi-sport standouts, including Jason Kidd, Sharif Abdur-Harim, Lamont Murray, and Tony Gonzalez. Respected as a strategist and talent developer, Bozeman has mentored numerous players who went on to NBA careers and professional success worldwide. Today, he channels his experience beyond the sidelines as the founder of the Blake Bozeman Foundation, created in honor of his late son. Through initiatives centered on mental health, financial literacy, gun violence prevention, and leadership, he is committed to using basketball as a vehicle for healing, opportunity, and change.
Todd Bozeman is also on his way. He had a family obligation, but he is on his way as well, so he will be here. Let's give it up for Peyton Swinton. Did a great job. Great job. I believe the children are of you. Gentlemen, this is a treat for me. Again, I handpicked you guys because I covered part of your careers here in Washington, D.C., and I've seen you guys grow with strength beyond the game, being on the court, and then afterwards redeveloping yourself, redefining yourself in different spaces. So I'm really interested in this conversation. Again, you played at the highest level, the professional level. So when you play at the professional level, there is so much good and bad that can come out of it that people don't even know that can affect your mental health. But first and foremost, Etan, you said you wanted to do something special to get this conversation started. So my friend, the floor is yours.
Okay. How's everybody doing? Oh, let me stand up. Stand up. Everybody good? Y'all all right? All right.
Like Erykah Badu. Is you all right?
So, I was blessed to play 11 years in the NBA. They say 9, but I was injured for 2 of them. But I got my 11 years. And, you know, y'all are in a different situation because mental health wasn't a thing when I was playing. They didn't acknowledge it. They didn't respect it. And you had to kind of suffer in silence. So now you are able to get help where it's not looked at as a negative if you say that you need help. And it wasn't always like that. So I had a situation, all right? I played for the Washington Wizards. It was a blessing. But me and my coach the first year were not vibing, okay? Y'all might not have had any situations where you don't vibe with your coach. Y'all have to put your hands up because the coaches might be in here. But my situation was, so I'll tell you quickly. My teammate, Kwame Brown, okay? Kwame Brown, that was my teammate. He was the #1 pick for the Washington Wizards. We're in Coach Doug Collins' office. All right, me and Kwame and Doug Collins. He asked to see us in there. So he looked at Kwame and he said, "You're going to be the worst #1 pick in the history of the NBA." Then he looked at me and he said, "You're not going to make it out of your rookie contract. And as soon as your rookie contract is over, you'll be out of the NBA." And so I looked at him and I almost crashed out. That's what y'all say. I almost crashed out. Right? So my man Kwame Brown did his arm like this with me because, and when he tells the story, it's a little bit better, but I know I almost crashed out. I know this. He said I had my fist balled and I got into his stance. I was mad. I'm not going to say I wasn't, right? But had I had punched Doug Collins, which is what I almost did, I would have never played basketball again, ever. And you're going to be in situations where you're going to be tested by coaches. Coaches are not going to believe in you. Now, you might have already experienced it. That was my experience. Now, I didn't really know what to do because that was my coach and I had to be with him the entire year. Okay? So The year was a struggle. That's how me and Kwame got tight, because we were both struggling. And so in 2 years, that coach got fired, right? And then a new coach, Eddie Jordan, came. Now, Eddie Jordan, I worked better in his system. So I started playing a lot. And then I got a new contract, right? So I wrote a poem, and the poem was called Haters, okay? And I wrote the poem, and I remember it was after I got my contract. Doug Collins was coaching for the 76ers, right? And I went up to him before the game, and I handed it to him. Didn't say anything, just handed it to him, and then I just sat there and watched when he read it. And he read it, and then he kind of did like this. And I'm telling you, like, that feeling that you didn't let that person who didn't believe in you and you proved them wrong was a great feeling. So I'm going to do the quick poems called Haters. Okay? Y'all good? All right. You never wanted me to make it. Did everything in your power to conquer my spirit. Inhibit my progress while subduing my strength. Pinching my passion, you wanted me to fail. To fall flat on my face. Fulfilling your wish for my dreams to be deferred. Suffocating my desires to attain my goals. You wanted my aspirations to exist merely as a figment of my imagination, never to escape into the realms of reality, but only existing within the fallacies of my thoughts. Through cerebral failures, you wanted me to experience conceptual breakdowns, to give up on my hopes, kidnap my wishes, and steal my desires. Perceptual shakedowns. Why would you aspire to see my universe crumble? Take pleasure in seeing me stumble off my path. Your prayers would conspire against me, bidding on my downfall, calling on roadblocks to impede my progress, knocking me off track. Sending me back to the depths of failure where dreams refuse to glow in the dark, where should have beens ponder possibilities as opportunities slip through the cracks of their victories, backing down their chances at success. You would love for your words to knock me down for the count, for me not to withstand your verbal beatdown, for my pride to become swollen shut, in need of my trainer to cut me, unblurring my vision. You wanted to keep me trapped in a loser's box. But like Saul Williams, I stopped combing my mind so my thoughts could lock. I'm so glad I ignored you. Paying you any attention is something I couldn't afford to do. With your fake smiles to lure me into your trust. Busting through walls, I refuse to lose. You can't capture my passion with nets of disaster. I'm avoiding sacks like quarterbacks. Call me Lamar Jackson, because I'm sidestepping your negative advances. I will never dance to your tune. I'm dismissing your songs of doom. You want them soon to be coming to my theater, to be a box office smash, crashing my will to succeed. Your shots of destruction can't harm me, because my desire is bulletproof, so keep busting at my joy. I'm catching your bullets in my teeth like I'm Bruce Leroy, because I've got the glow of God within me. And prosper not will any weapons formed against me. So put simply, your desires for me to fail will never stop me.
To quote a line from one of my favorite movies, Love Jones, is that all right? Is that all right? Wow, Etan, I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. I knew the story from what I heard, but that particular iteration of it and how you have channeled that into poetry and advocacy is just amazing. And what we've been able to do with I Respectfully Disagree, teaching people how to do just that. That's all part of the mental health, emotional wellness. Mm-hmm. So I thank you for kicking it off, and I knew you were going to do a good job, but I didn't know you was spitting like that. Josh Morgan, take that mic, take that mic, take that mic, take that mic. So Josh, Peyton read your bio, stuff that you've done. You played here for the Washington franchise. You all played for San Francisco, played for multiple teams. When I say the words strength beyond the game, could you kind of let us know what that means to you? When I say strength beyond the game, could you take us through what that means for you?
Strength beyond the game. I think strength is the game, because you can't do anything in any part of the game, any sport. You can't do anything without being mentally strong, without being emotionally strong, without being spiritually strong. So I think strength is the game. You understand? I mean, I heard something earlier about kids being stressed with coming to school and performing good and all. Y'all have all these pressures that y'all create and put on yourselves, but I think the more you take care of your mental, everything else follows. And I think that's what strength beyond the game is. I mean, because if you take care of your mental, then your mind is the strongest muscle you have. You're going to be using your mind for the rest of your life. Sports is a small fragment of your life. You're going to be using your mind for the rest of your life. So if you take care of your mental, everything follows. And they come down to training too, right? Come down to performing, right? When you in there, you tired and you want to give up, your body want to quit. Mentally, you got to tell yourself, nah, I got 3 more. I got 5 more, right? Mentally, you got to tell yourself to keep going. So I think the more you take care of your mental, the more everything else follows. When your mind is right, it's kind of hard to stop you.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. That's good. So taking this from a student-athlete perspective, you played at Virginia Tech, you played at Syracuse. There was no social media back then. All you got was...
I'm telling our age, Luke.
I'll tell it. I've earned every last minute of it. The NCAA gives you that red shirt year so you can go ahead and get that one last hit of eligibility. But what the NCAA can't do is get into your head on how, when you can't play, you feel less than, right? You come from your high schools where you are the big fish, and then you come and it is so competitive, right? That was back then. It was so competitive that you were just trying to get on the field. And when I opened up about all the things and all the rigors that student athletes have to go through right now, how did you all navigate that, knowing that even without social media, the pressure was real to perform and to perform at a high level? Virginia Tech in football and Syracuse in basketball, when you all played, that was no joke. How did you all do it?
Well, it was tough. I mean, I'm not going to say like it was easy. It was tough. Freshman year at Syracuse, I didn't play that much. My first years here with the Wizards, I didn't play that much. You heard the story of my coach, so he didn't really believe in me. I think it's important to never lose faith in yourself, no matter what. And that's like a lesson for life, because there are going to be people in life that have low expectations for you. But that can't be the way that you look at yourself, no matter what they think. So all the time when after Doug Collins said that to me and Kwame, we started pushing each other. And sometimes you got to have somebody who is struggling with you to also push you. Because y'all know how it is. Sometimes you're not playing, you know what I mean? You have no chance of playing, but you're still going through all the motions, and you're like, you know what? I'm ready to get up out of here as soon as this is over, and you're ready to leave, right? But me and Kwame, we'd be like, hey, let's stay back, let's play one-on-one against each other. And it would be an angry one-on-one, like real aggressive. Like, no, we're not trying to hurt each other, but we real aggressive because we're getting our frustrations out. And honestly, those were some of the best workouts still to this day that I did with Kwame Brown after, we both were in a tough situation. But the main part, and I've seen a lot of athletes lose their confidence because the coach doesn't have confidence in them. And your confidence and your self-worth cannot be tied to anybody else. That is your personal relationship with your sport, right? So can nobody affect that relationship, no matter what they think? And it could be your coach, but things change. So like I said, my coach got fired, and then a new coach came, and I was great for his system. But if I would have crashed out, I would have never gotten to that point. You know what I mean? And like when I tell you, y'all don't understand when I say I was this close to crashing out. Like really, I was going to knock Doug Collins into next week, he'd probably still be asleep right now how hard I was going to hit him. You know what I mean? Because some coaches, they are on power trips. And they know that they have your future, they know that everybody loves to play and they have that in their hand, right? So sometimes they hang it over your head, or they play mind games with you, or put you in for a little bit and everything is your fault, and they take you out and say, that's why I can't play you. You know coaches play those kind of games. Y'all all been in some level where you've experienced that from a coach. But I've also seen people really go into deep depressions because their coach doesn't believe in them. And that's what you can't let happen, because it can affect how, when you look in the mirror, you got to be, this coach is crazy, and I'm going to prove him wrong. That's what it's got to be, not, dang, well, maybe I'm not as good of a player as I thought. You know what I mean? And then you start second-guessing yourself, and that's where it kind of spirals.
Josh, what was it like in Blacksburg? Yeah.
Blacksburg was a lot of fun, and I think perception is everything. So when I got down there, I went early. I graduated. I left, I enrolled in January, a semester before I was actually supposed to be there, and just to get my feet wet and try to understand what this college life was about. Because coming from H.D. Woodson, it was a culture shock for me. So definitely, Blacksburg was a lot of fun. But when I say perception is everything, I think my life up until that point prepared me for everything else I was going to have to deal with football, with the business side of all the sports. My life up until that point, I spent plenty of nights, not knowing where my next meal going to come from. I spent plenty of nights sleeping on one of my friends' floors or sleeping on the couch. I graduated high school homeless. I spent plenty of nights, just praying to God, thanking God for, keeping me alive, because, I had just got shot at, or I got stabbed, or I got robbed, or, and they robbed me at gunpoint and things like that. So I think, I saw my best friend get killed, brains all over my face. I had another best friend that was supposed to be one of the top tackles in all of America. They robbed him for his shoes right there on Minnesota Avenue Bridge. And they killed them. So just like I said, I had went through so much already that when I got to Blacksburg, my whole mindset was, look, I don't have nothing to go back to. I don't have most of all my best friends at that point had got killed due to gun violence. And my whole mindset was, I'm gonna either play, or they're gonna watch me play, or they're gonna play beside me. And when it came to that, I wasn't going to let nothing stop me, because I felt like everything up until that point that was sent to destroy me didn't. So I wasn't going to let, like, when you telling me I get to go from running from bullets every week, getting shot, getting stabbed, and all this and that, now all I got to do is catch this football and try to score a touchdown.
Wow.
So I wasn't going to let anything stop me. So my perception was just, man, when I get down here, I'm not getting shot at, I'm not getting stabbed. They feed me 3 or 4 times a day. I got somewhere to sleep. When I got to college, that was my first time having my own bed, my own bedroom. That was my first time having my own shower. That was my first time having a shower. Wow. That was my first, we had that big old porcelain tub where I had to go heat the water on the stove and carry it up to the tub just to take a hot bath. But just my beginnings, it just turned me into something different. So when I stepped on campus, I had already been through a lot of things that nobody could imagine. So It was just easy for me. It was therapy for me to play football. It was easy for me.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Let's fast forward now to the end of your careers. I had an interesting conversation with LeVar Arrington when he was playing. And he said, Lou, the hard part for athletes that make it to our level is that we have been cheered for since we were like 4 or 5 years old. Cheered for on every single level. And then the reason why this is what he told me, the reason why a lot of football players don't leave the game because they do not know what to do when the cheering stops. They don't know how to function when the cheering is, you walk it like gladiator. Are you not entertained? They come in every battle, every court, they come in, and that's all they've known. And it scares them to have a life without the game. And so now that you're transitioning and you know that, okay, this is your last contract, this is your body's breaking down, and you got to find yourself whatever. I don't want to say a real job, but you have to find life after the sport. How did you all transition? What lessons did you learn, or what were some of the highs and lows about knowing that, you know what, they're not going to cheer for me no more. I got to find something else to do and be productive for the remaining years of my life. How did you do that?
Well, you have to start finding that while you're still playing. You can't just wait till you stop playing and then say, okay, what am I going to do now? And so for me, I started writing, while I was playing. I started really writing back in high school. I was on the speech and debate team, and we were winning state championships in speech and debate, and we were winning state championships in basketball. So I always kind of did both. And, I've seen guys really struggle once they retire and are truly unhappy with their entire lives. Because like you said, the cheering stops and their entire life crumbles. But that's where you have to understand and know that this sport is not all that you are. It's just something that you do. And the sport makes you think that your entire identity is tied into the sport. You know what I mean? But that's not true. It can't be that. That's too much. Because you have to be able to live life. You're only going to be able to play your sport for so long. Even if you go pro, you're going to finish when you're still a relatively young person.
True.
So you have to have something that you have a passionate about that you can do after you finish. And I would say start working on that now. One of the things that happens in college is, not saying here, but I'll say what happened at Syracuse. Okay, that's what I'll say. They will try to steer you towards easier classes so you can concentrate on your sport.
True.
Right? I don't know if you experienced that. They'll try to do it. I remember, because I was a business major, right? I wanted to know how to invest, how to manage money, because I did not want to be like one of those athletes that I always saw that go completely broke after they played a long time. So I took all these hard classes, and I hated math. I hated math when I was in high school. I barely got through. Like I had to have 2 different tutors for algebra, algebra 2, geometry. I struggled. Right? But then I got to Syracuse and took all math classes because I knew it was going to be beneficial to me. Now, calculus was the hardest class on planet Earth. It doesn't even make sense for it to be that hard. Okay? So I'm struggling through calculus, right? I have a study group. I have the athletic tutor, and I have my own tutor. Okay? So every time after practice, my study group would meet me right there at Manley Fieldhouse, waiting for us to go and study. Now, every single one of my coaches, right? Every single one of them came to me at some point like, hey, it's great that you're really into your schoolwork, but make sure that you're putting the extra time here in basketball as well. Reminding me that that's what I'm there for. So I said to all of them, y'all don't understand. If I don't study like this, I'm going to fail. And not like with calculus. Listen, I remember when the first exam came back, there were people getting 5%, 7%, 11%. So there's only 3 or 4 exams. So if you get a 5% on the first one, there's no hope for you, right? I remember I studied so hard and I got a C. I got a 75, right? 74. And because of the curve, it curved up. But that was the hardest earned C I ever had in my life. But I am so glad that I got a business degree. I'm so glad that I struggled through accounting and finance and statistics and learned about investing, learned about all those things to diversify my portfolio. All those things y'all got to learn, and it's not fun. It ain't about being fun. You know what I mean? You have to take advantage of the opportunity that you get, because I was not going to Syracuse University if I did not get a scholarship. My mother was a teacher, single parent household. I would have been at Tulsa Community College or something like that. You know what I mean? So it is a privilege to be at any university, and you have to be able to take advantage of it. Don't waste it, because if you take basket weaving 101 and all those stuff and you stay eligible after you finish, that degree is not going to help you at all in life. That's the honest truth.
Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Go ahead, Josh.
Transitioning out the game.
Transitioning out. Yep.
I mean, you have to kind of, each time, kind of, you know, hint it towards it. But I try to remind people of who's Superman. Superman and Clark Kent are the same person. You get what I'm saying? One's wearing the uniform, one's not, but they're the same person. You know, and you just have to stick to who you really are, to your core, and continue to be who you are. And like he said, he hit it on the head, because transitioning out the game, I kind of fell back to the hobbies I had, you know, as a child. You know, I kind of started writing again. Trying to write short stories and trying to write scripts, and Maggie had me in some of her movies, because I was acting throughout high school and middle school, and acting in college. Did a couple plays in college, so I tried to get back into that. And you know, I try to just stick to my hobbies and things like that, because I was a victim of my coach telling me I couldn't major in this thing because I wanted to go be a business major and all that. My coach said, well, you're going to miss class 3 times a week if you do this, so you can't do that.
Right.
So he made me major in real estate and all this other stuff I ain't really care about, because that is what it is, but I'm not going to go down that path. But you know, I was a victim of not being able to do what I wanted to do,
right,
because they wanted to remind me that you're here to play football. You're here to help us win games. Yeah. So when it came to things like that, it kind of changes your perspective a little bit on, you know, who's really for you, you know, what they really, because they tell you, that's part of the recruiting process, you know. Yeah, we want you to come get a 4-year degree and all that. They don't tell you they're going to choose it for you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You know.
Yeah.
So, and back then I was seeing some of my friends, you know, get kicked out of school for silly things. Mm-hmm. So I was just trying to abide by the rules and just make my way to the NFL, because that was the ultimate goal. But transitioning out, it wasn't as hard on me as it was a lot of people. You know, I think the hardest part was looking for that level of competition in anything else. That's what I never found. When you're every day of the week, you know you one of the best, you're preparing to go against the best, and you in an arena full of millions of people, thousands of people, whatever. I couldn't find that anywhere.
Yeah.
I tried to go overseas to play professional basketball, wasn't the same. I tried to, you know, be a high school coach, wasn't the same. I tried a lot of different things, and it just wasn't that same as knowing football. 32 teams, you got 2 starting receivers on each team. So I was one of the best 64 receivers in the NFL for 8 years. It's hard to find that anywhere else. And that's why when people tell me, do you miss it? They ask, do you miss it? Do you miss it? I'd be like, on Sundays, yeah, that's about it. That's the only day of the week I miss it, because that's the only time that we were going against the best in the world, right, and you create that competition. But if you just stick to your hobbies and, like he said, kind of start dabbling, you know, on figuring out what you want to do while you're still playing, because it's easier to make those connections. It's easier to network while you're fresh on their mind, while they know who you are, while they could turn on the TV and see you playing. Mm-hmm. It's easier to make all of those connections and kind of figure out. So when it comes time to navigating what you want to do, you got a long list of people that you can call and reach out to. You probably have internships you've done. This world of sports, it's amazing, because I could have sucked, right? I could have been the worst receiver ever, but I could still, if I love football, it's 100 other things I could do within football to stay close to football. It's 100 other jobs.
There you go.
You think what I'm saying? So, just, man, while you're still playing, while you're still young, man, network, and continue to, figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to just be, nobody has an easy route to anything. Everybody goes through different struggles.
Right.
But, man, if you just start now, it's easier when it's time to really step away from the game.
Right.
Todd Bozeman, welcome, sir. Good to have you. We read your bio has been read. But there was one thing in your. You got it? Good. Yeah. Your bio has been read, but there was one thing in the bio that I kind of want to touch on. We talked about at Berkeley when you became the youngest head coach in NCAA history to lead a team to the Sweet 16 at just 29 years old. 29 years old at Cal. You guided the Golden Bears to 3 NCAA tournament appearances and coached future pros and multi-sport standouts like Jason Kidd, Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Lamont Murray, and Tony Gonzalez. When you were coaching those, you as an actual coach and somebody who played at the high Bishop McNamara Hall of Fame and coached it, what was it like, strength beyond the game, that you taught your athletes and then you internalized yourself as far as coaching strength beyond the actual game that you were coaching?
Well, first of all, thank you for the introduction. I don't want to make it a thing, but I apologize for being late because when I agreed to do this for Lou, my son, they're going through a trial for 2 men that killed my son 2.5 years ago. And so that's where I'm coming from the trial. But I committed to do this for Lou, so I just came here right after. So, and this is Mental Health Month, and I am in the middle of it. So I wanted to make sure that I address that. And then I get in here and I hear these two former student athletes going at their coaches, setting them up. I felt some kind of way, and I started to scoot down another seat. But I gotta address that because that boils down to choosing who you're going to play for. So players pick these schools and they get excited about whether they're in Nike or whether now it's the NIL. But you got to understand what the coach has, the interest that the coach has for you. Because I know as a young coach and a black coach at that, I was always talking about things beyond basketball. So I was not that guy that tried to get them to change their degree. I actually was encouraging them to be Superman. Hey man, if you believe it, do it. I had a kid that carried a Bible around. I called him Deke. Be who you are, be yourself. So it really boils down to the person, the coach that you're going to play for and what they stand for, because sometimes you can get distracted. It's kind of like what we're going through as a country. We get, they distracting you, and they'll distract you, and then the next thing you know, you signed. And, who knows, they might have had y'all hooked up with some young ladies when y'all went to campus on your campus tour, and that might have, got you to get on to that. But to answer your question, Lou, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to go off.
You do you, man. This is why you're here. You do.
Yeah, well, I mean, you knew that
you.
when I signed up for it, that I, kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I built time in for you, Bozeman.
Yeah, but in terms of back then, particularly back then, it was important to me to model and give my players as much as I could give them at the time. So for me, bringing speakers in, I started a speakers bureau. We had speakers that came and spoke on AIDS, and that was back when AIDS, you're talking about AIDS, it just was starting to hit the scene. But I brought people in, I brought former athletes, I brought in bankers to teach them how to write a checkbook. I even did that when I was coaching at Morgan. But I also was big on my guys reaching out and getting help. I mean, as a coach, you wear a lot of different hats, but I encourage them to, if you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. I did. I had to talk to somebody. Even right now, going through the loss of my son, like I had to see a therapist. I told my wife the second day, I was like, babe, if I don't talk to somebody, I got no shot. I said, I got no shot at making this. And it's been the hardest thing. So, and I'm not afraid to say that I thought about taking my life. That's real stuff. And you lose the person one of the people that is your why, it makes you think like that. And if it wasn't for my wife and my daughter, that might have happened. But and I'm not, I say that because I want young people to know that, it's real and you can talk about it. My kids, my players, they've seen me shed tears. I'm not that guy that matters, that defines who you are as a man. None of that matters. So as a young coach, those were the things that I wanted to base my coaching on, and I wanted my guys to experience from me as a coach and as a black coach, and I wanted them to reach like those type of goals.
Gotcha. All right, as I said, I have sprinkled in some rising stars in the oral communication space. So could you please welcome to the podium two of my students in my oral communication class, Jade and Maria. Ask whichever one of the two that you had that you gave to me. Whatever you've been watching the conversation. Go ahead, Jade. You go first.
Hello. Hi. My name is Jade Lomax. I am a sophomore. I am majoring in visual communications and digital media art. And like you said, I am one of his students in oral communications. And a question I would like to ask any of you would be, during off seasons, are there any rituals or schedules you follow to keep your mind at bay?
They came up with these questions themselves. Good job, Jade.
So for me, the off season is really where you work and get better. So when you have, however the season before went, and you set your goals, and you have to be about your business, and you can't fake it. So some people can get away with just being super talented. I wasn't that person. I was just super talented. I had to work hard. But you've seen guys that they don't even work hard. They get to, and they just knock down threes and they just do their thing and they don't even practice hard. That wasn't me. So during the summer, I had to take so I remember my freshman year at Syracuse, I didn't play that much. I was behind the senior. That's what happens when you're a freshman. So I had to learn. So one of the things I had to do playing in the Big East, I was not as strong as all of the different centers that were playing in the Big East. So I had to commit myself to the weight room. And if I didn't do that, I was putting myself at a disadvantage. So it's kind of like you either have to, sometimes people can just complain, the coach don't like me, I don't, this ain't the right situation, everything like that, or you can prove the coach wrong. And that was like make the coach eat his words, like make the coach change his tune. And I did that at Syracuse because freshman year, Coach Boeheim, he wasn't, I had the freshman blues. I hated Syracuse my freshman year. Like I didn't like Coach Boeheim. It was cold. It was snowing. I had a cold all the time. I could just list the different reasons why I didn't like Syracuse, right? But you have to be mentally strong, right? And be focused on what your goal is. And then you commit to it and nothing else matters. So some of the times, I'm glad we didn't have social media, to be honest with you, because I think there's too much distraction sometimes with all the different stuff. Sometimes you got to have tunnel vision. So when they do the horse races and they put the things on the horse and they can't see none of the other stuff, they could just see straight ahead. That's what you need, that level of dedication, if you're serious about it. Now, if you're not serious about it, then that's different. You know what I mean? You go, do whatever. But I didn't want to do anything that could negatively impact my chances at being successful. So that was what I did in the off season to really lock in and to remind me and write your goals on your wall. This is what I want to happen. And every day you look at it and whatever you're doing that day, If it's not something that's going to get you to that goal, then you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Maria, your first question for Josh.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Gonzalez. I'm a freshman majoring in public health informatics and technology. And a question that I want to ask to the pros is, does constantly focusing on performance lead players to ignore their mental well-being?
Good question. You want to repeat it, or you good?
No, I'm good. I think constantly focusing on performance, it kind of creates anxiety. You know, I think if you constantly worried about how you're going to perform, then yeah, you can ignore your mental well-being, because you creating that anxiety, and you're probably preventing yourself from doing something that could help you perform better. You get what I'm saying? You probably, for myself, it was learning my plays, right? Studying your plays, because coach come in there and practice and give you 150 plays, and you got to memorize all of them in 35 minutes. And then you got to go in the field. You got to go in the field and get it right. And if you don't get it right, then the man behind you just waiting to take your position. You get what I'm saying? So, and that's the kind of what they create, right? And coach just came up here and talked about knowing who you play for, right? So the environment I was always in was, during the recruiting process, they're going to recruit you and they're going to tell you you're the best thing ever. And as soon as you commit, it's their job to find somebody to replace you. You get what I'm saying? That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
So that creates that pressure and that atmosphere where, and as an athlete, I was a high competitor, so I loved it, because you look around, this competition everywhere. I know if I don't catch this ball, then he going to come behind me and he probably score 3 touchdowns, or the guy next to me probably score 6 touchdowns and things like that. But back to your question, mentally, I keep saying that if you don't got your mind right, like outside of the game, then you bound to go out there and mess up when it comes to performing the way you want to perform, because at the end of the day, it's a game. It's a game. You've been doing it since whenever you started playing. I know I've been playing football since I was like 5 or 6 years old, right? It's a game. But if I'm focused and putting added pressure on, I have to go out there and score 2 touchdowns, I have to go out there and be perfect, there's no such thing as perfection.
Right.
There's no such thing. So why create all this anxiety worrying about it? Just go out there and have fun. If you take care of what need to be taken care of mentally in practice, where, and whatever corrections you have in practice, write them down, fix them the next day, and just every play, every day, try to be better than you were the day before, your performance is going to take care of itself. Like, it's nothing to worry about. You're probably going to go out there and dominate.
Yeah.
You're probably going to play better than you imagine. And that's what I surprised myself sometimes. I was like, dang, I really did that. I got coaches to this day reminded me of things that I used to do, and I was like, man, I forgot all about that. I really did that. Or, I'm sure us all up here, all the athletes probably did something in their sport where they like, man, I didn't even know I could do that. But that comes with the mental aspect of it, which you just out there playing.
Yeah.
And when you're out there playing, your God-given ability is going to take over. There's no added pressure.
Right. Todd, you want to add?
Well, I wanted her to repeat the question one more time.
For the last one.
Yeah, the last question. I'm sorry.
Repeat that last one for Todd Bozeman.
Okay. Does constantly focusing on performance lead players to ignore their mental well-being?
Yes. And so, what I wanted to touch on also was that sometimes what it does is it leads you to try drugs or to try enhancements. And so, yes, that's why I wanted to answer yes, because it can lead you down that path. Nowadays, a lot of programs have someone there as I don't want to say a mediator, but it's kind of like it's not a social coach, but it's an emotional, I'm going to say an emotional coach. But they have those people on staff, and I think it's super important. So I did want to say that, and coaches have that too. But that's the way that I think it sometimes can affect your performance.
Thank you.
And I just I would be remiss if I didn't mention the recent passing of Brandon Clark. which is another reason why this conversation is so vital. And reading all the reports, it said that his career had been derailed recently by injuries. He played in just 6 games during the 2023-2024 season due to a torn Achilles, and missed all but 2 games this past season due to a calf and knee ailment. And then, he led the law enforcement on a chase, and they found drugs in his possession. And so again, the injury leads to, like you said, the poor choices, and leads to where we are today. So, I think that this is very vital. Again, these gentlemen are going to be here after the conversation to talk, but there's so much more to talk about. But I am so thankful for you guys to come and spend some time with me, just because I asked you to come and pour in to this community. So I thank you. Thank you, guys. Can we get the photographer? Can the photographer take a picture? Where's the photographer? I want to take a picture before of this panel before they take their seat and we go to the next one. Thanks, gentlemen. I appreciate you. All right, Peyton, you're up next. Where are we going now, Peyton?
Moving on to our next panel, the practitioners. Sean Robinson is a former University of Pittsburgh student athlete turned social entrepreneur who is redefining how sports shape the next generation of leaders. After a promising football career highlighted by ranking among the nation's leaders in interceptions and making history with the punt return touchdown in Pit Bowl history was altered by a car accident, Robinson turned adversity into purpose. In 2013, he founded the Orange Arrow Players Association to ensure student athletes are prepared not just for the game, but for life beyond it. Under his leadership, Orange Arrow has impacted thousands of student athletes nationwide through innovative programming like the Training Table, which brings together young athletes and college players for mentorship, life skills, and real conversations about identity, discipline, and long-term success. From Pittsburgh to Raleigh and beyond, Robinson is building a movement rooted in connection, exposure, and intentional development, helping student athletes expand their visions of what's possible. A recipient of Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, Robinson is a nationally recognized leader in student athlete development, advancing leadership, mindset, and success beyond sports. His work has earned support from professional athletes, major institutions, and communities committed to developing the whole athlete.
Dr. Lisa Daniels is a sports psychotherapist and a certified mental performance consultant at Howard University, who was featured on the ESPN First Take HBCU Spotlight. She specializes in sports performance and psychology. Dr. Daniels is a native Washingtonian and a graduate of DC Public Schools. She earned her PhD in counseling psychology from Howard University and a Master of Teaching from the University of Virginia, with a postdoctoral training in applied sports psychology from the University of Western States. She's the founder of Dynamic Performance Interventions, LLC, and classically trained ballet dancer and traumatic brain injury survivor who is passionate about helping individuals win on the inside.
Lisa Lennard, the visionary founder of Competitive Edge EQ, has dedicated over 25 years to empowering individuals by building the emotional muscle of student athletes, parents, and coaches through emotional intelligence, mental health, and personal growth. Founding Competitive Edge EQ during the pandemic, she passionately addressed the emotional needs of student athletes, recognizing the profound impact of that era on the sports community. As a former Division I athlete in both basketball and softball, and a daughter to a mother who played for Team Takeover, one of the top AAU teams in the country, and ranked by ESPN as the 26th best post player in the nation, Lisa brings a unique and empathetic understanding to her work. Her extensive expertise as a certified emotional intelligence coach and facilitator, coupled with her role as a certified mental health first aid responder for youth and adults, enables her to deliver truly transformative programs.
Thank you so much, ladies. Aren't they doing a great job? They're doing an awesome job. I knew you could do it. Jade and Maria, remember we have our final tomorrow. All right. All right. All right. Don't skip class. Don't skip class. This wasn't the final. You got to take your final. All right. All right. The practitioners. Wow. This is amazing because when I put you three together, all I could think of was that Lauryn Hill song, How You Gonna Win When You Ain't Right Within. It's one of the best lines in all of hip-hop music. How you gonna win when you ain't right within? And so that's why I teamed you three together, because two of you we met on one panel, and then Sean, we met at ABIS, and it was just phenomenal, your stories on how you are advocating for the student athlete and just people in general. So Lisa, I'm gonna start with you. Obviously, you have been amazing, the work that you've done in the community with Competitive Edge EQ, and that slogan stays with me, right? It stays with me because as player and now coaching, and that is the mantra. Every play counts, but every emotion matters. And you came up with that. Tell me how you came up with that and the strength beyond the game that we have partnered together to do here. Thank you for letting me do it. Thank you, Dr. Bro. Thank you, Dr. Musu, for letting us bring people like Lisa in here to partner in the community. But that tagline and that mantra, it's not just for sports, it's for life. It's for life. So could you talk about how you came up with that and why?
Sure. So, well, first, let me say thank you for widening the lens on this conversation, because it's incredibly important, right? And to the point of our tagline, how did we come up with it? It is really simple. Fasted for about 7 days, asked God, what did you want me to do? And bada boom, bada bang. It wasn't even that deep. It wasn't. The thing that we really wanted to focus in on was how do we bring people in, draw people into sport beyond the sport, right? We all clap for the dunks, the touchdowns. That seems to be our focus, but how do you pull people in to understand that sport is a small microcosm, and we have to think about life beyond the sport. So every play counts. It means every single play. Yeah, on the court, yeah, on the field, but also, yes, in the classroom, yes, in your relationships, yes, in your development. Every play counts. Every emotion matters. Yes, I want people, not just athletes, but everyone to think about the one thing that we don't get away from. Yeah. And that is your emotions. You go to sleep with them. Some of us go to sleep mad, right? You go to sleep with them, and then you wake up with them, right? And so we wanted people to really lean into the idea that you have to take care of your whole self. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Daniels, what made you get into sports psychotherapy? Where did that come from? Just turn that on.
Okay. So my journey leading into sports psychotherapy and pursuing the PhD in counseling psychology actually occurred when I was a student at the University of Virginia. I was a second year, and I was in a near-fatal car accident. I had sustained a traumatic brain injury. I didn't know my name. I had to relearn how to read, write, and walk. And I lost everything. And I had to rediscover who I was. And I had to find my purpose. And that's where I had to really just ask God, why? Why did you, even dealing with survivor's guilt, why me? Why did you let me live? But then even what I had to go through and what I had to overcome, every type of therapy you can imagine in order to get back to normal, whatever normal is. And so, you know, it's interesting how you mentioned Lauryn Hill, how you gonna win when you ain't right within. So that part right there, I had to learn. Well, I actually felt a lot of shame where I didn't want anybody to know about the brain injury. And so when I had finally come back to school, I felt like I had to overcompensate and be extra smart. And I was afraid to speak in public, or did that sound right? Or I felt like I was always editing myself before I said anything. And that's where I had actually changed my major, and I decided, I was like, you know what? I want to help people. I want to help people learn to accept themselves, to be able to operate within reality, not always focus on your future self or who you aspire to be or where things are going next, but to really have a full acceptance of self. That's how you change the game. And that's how you develop greater ego strength, so that you're able to live life and have joy and be more comfortable. So that's what led me to pursue the PhD in counseling psychology. And then I did the postdoc in applied sports psychology. And I would just say it's rewarding. This is my passion, and I'm just grateful. And I truly thank God for just giving me a second chance to live.
Amen. 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 Sean, the whole talked about, Lisa talked about the injury. I mean, your injury, you know, in that moment, in that car accident, I mean, you was on your way to be in the pros and things of that nature, but then life be lifing, and
right.
things happened. And so how did you find your strength beyond the game, knowing that, I mean, you were good at Pitt. I mean, you was about to do great things, and then one moment and things changed, but you had to repurpose yourself.
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me, and thank you all for being here. It was challenging. It was challenging, to say the least. Just like a lot of young people growing up wanting to be a professional athlete. It was mentioned I played football at Pitt. My sophomore year playing cornerback, I was ranked 7th in the nation in interception, set a couple records. And in Pittsburgh, we probably right next door to the Steelers, so the coaches knew me, players knew me. Done deal, I'm going to the league. What kind of house I buy my mom, the whole 9 yards. But about a month before my junior season, there's a lot of one-way streets in Pittsburgh. I was driving, looking for oncoming traffic. Next thing I know, a person going down the wrong way, that one-way street, and hitting me. We know how it is as athletes, you can't perform to that top level. Next person up. So ultimately, it wasn't my destiny to go to the NFL. But that time, though, it was really challenging because my identity was wrapped up into my sport. Going home, people knew me as, you know, the football player, seeing me on ESPN. It was crazy. I remember one time after my sophomore season, I had an autograph signing at my hometown church. I'm like, y'all used to watch me. You see me since I was like 5'10", but now you want my autograph? Like, so I was getting underhand handshakes and things of that nature before it was NIL. So I thought I was going to the league. But when I was derailed, it took me a while to figure out, like, who am I outside of the sport? I battled depression, but I relied on my faith and my family that really helped me go through that. And then I'm sure I get an opportunity to speak later, but I let that fuel the mission that which is Orange Arrow, which is coaching student athletes to aim for success off the field, off the track, out of the pool, wherever the playing arena may be. So it's really helping, like, the younger me, making sure that you become more than an athlete.
Why orange? Why? What came of that color and the whole scheme?
Oh, that's interesting. So when you look at the color orange, it represents enthusiasm, fascination, determination, and success. Also, when you look at the color orange, it gives a source of oxygen supply to the brain. So the vision is to be a source of life, give oxygen to young people. And then arrow, think of direction and pointing them in the right direction.
Great. I want to bring up Lawrence Ham. Lawrence, come up here. Lawrence, come up here. Let's give Lawrence a big hand. Put that seat right next to him. So again, I'm not going to leave Lawrence out because he was taking care of business that is big for the Commanders Nation. New stadium, I will say it, and where's the camera at? Who's recording me, whatever. Lawrence Ham is the reason why the NFL draft is coming here next spring. Forget what you heard. I've watched, I've seen, I've been on the phone with him. We're fraternity brothers, yo to the noose. And I have seen him work diligently, and to see him in Pittsburgh when they handed off the torch from Pittsburgh to Washington, D.C., and to see Lawrence Ham up there, I literally had a tear in my eye because we talked about how hard it was for you to get to that point, and you being one of the few blacks in your area of business development. I am so proud of you. I just want to say that, so proud of you. But jumping into the conversation about the student athlete, I mean, you played in college, and then your whole journey is a little bit different. I mean, you had to go overseas, what, 3 years in the Netherlands, 3 years in Finland, and 1 in Prague, playing overseas and still trying to keep your mental health together while you have to speak different languages and understand cultures. People can't even do it in the culture that they're in. You had to do it in multiple cultures just to keep your dream alive. But when it started to just change and things that you experienced, how did you get strength beyond the game and move forward?
Awesome. Thank you, Lou. I appreciate that. First of all, I want to just thank this platform. I've had the opportunity to join a few times now, and it's always conversations that really can help people. All of us in our journeys have tried to figure out a lot of it by ourselves, but to have a community like this that you can come back to and learn from and have open conversation is super, super valuable. Lou, kind of to your point, yeah, I played basketball in high school, played Division I at Towson, had the opportunity to go overseas. I am an only child, and I went from graduating from college to going to a space where no one looked like me, spoke like me, and their perception of me was very different than how I carried myself. For example, after a game, I had a young child come up to me and say, "Yo, what's up, man? How are you doing? What's up?" He thought via TV and entertainment, that's how we spoke all the time, and obviously all of us don't do that all the time. So I had to make sure that I was true to myself to hopefully be a representation of the education that all of us in this room carry with us every day. And it was tough being by yourself. You know, the normal places that you go to eat are not there, but also staying focused. I think the biggest thing for me was I was raised in church, so I believed in something beyond myself, even though I was alone. I never felt that way, so I just stuck to what my family and church distilled in me to kind of move forward. So it was definitely a rocky and a point of evolution for me, but I think it's helped build who I am today to have some of these opportunities. So I guess that's the short answer.
Amen. Amen. So faith has been mentioned multiple times on since we started this conversation. I am proud to say that I am a deacon at First Baptist Church of Glenarden, and that spiritual component is real. I mean, it's biblical. You know, it talks about we do not fight against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. If you don't think that there's powers and principalities working here, then you are sadly mistaken. It's in the Word, and His Word does not lie. His Word does not lie. And so to have a spiritual base, every knee is going to bow, every tongue is going to confess that there is one Lord. And I think that some people treat their sports as their God. And then once their God has let them down, they have nowhere else to go because they're so tied up, like Etan said, into the coach or that God or the playing and that God and whatever, that when things start to go wrong, that's when the mental starts to come in. And then, man, social media has just exacerbated the whole problem. So now that we get into the mind, Lisa, I'm going to start with you. How do you attack that problem with your platform that there's life after the game and you got to get your mind right?
So I am a teacher by trade, right? Once a teacher, always a teacher. I arrive in space for the simple purpose of teaching. And so I don't like the practical talking to individuals, young people, or coaches, or parents. So we do very tangible things. I create very tangible workshops so that the full body is invested in the entire experience. I think that a lot of times for players and coaches, from the coach's perspective, you got to be mentally tough. Get tough out there. What does that mean? What does that really mean for a young person who's running up and down the floor, and all you can say is get mentally tough, right? I think coaches have bought into that tagline, but not really understanding what mentally tough actually means. And so for us, it's about developing space, time, and opportunity for young people to lean in to who they are physically. This is the one thing that you're going to occupy no matter what, right? And so, but it's the one thing that you only take care of when you go into the weight room, when you do skills and drills and all these things. But our workshops, our seminars, our academies are designed for the sole purpose of bringing all of this into play. So beyond dribbling a ball or passing a ball, we physically have an experience so that young people have a tangible opportunity to experience. I'll give you just a quick example, not too long, but we don't look at lemons the same way. So we've heard the thing, turn lemons into lemonade, but we have a full-fledged workshop that allows young people or parents or coaches to submerge themselves into the lemon experience. And then they will walk away from it understanding the idea, turning lemons into lemonade, how it applies to them. How do you take those rough opportunities, those rough moments? Notice I said rough opportunities, because it's a challenge, yes, but it's an opportunity to grow through the experience. So we create time, space, and opportunity for young people, coaches, and parents to have a full body experience, right, to transform and reframe the way that they perceive life.
Right. Dr. Daniels, I have a specific question for you. We talked about idols. And this came up in another conversation that I had with Lisa Leonard, that sometimes parents, their kids and their activities are their idol. And so you are raising these kids and you're going to all the games and you're doing all this stuff. And then when they are gone, you don't even know who you are anymore, because that's all you've ever done is pour into the kids. So from a doctor, a medical perspective, when you are sitting with the athletes, what are you saying to the parents as far as, yo, you need to get a life? Like you need to reevaluate what you're doing, so when they go off and go play pro or do whatever, that you are okay mentally yourself, because you've been pouring so much in and you can't pour from an empty cup. So how do you, from a medical perspective, how do you deal with the parents?
You know, one thing I say to parents or to persons that are, or even coaches, right, that are really invested in their athletes and supporting them, is just allowing them to develop their own self-talk and independence. Where, and I recognize, and also honoring just the effort that they've made, that they put into them, and that investment, but recognizing that they've got to let go. You've got to step back. You've got to let them fall. They have to make mistakes, because that's how you learn, and that's how they will learn. And they will, my granddad, he used to tell me that adversity builds muscle. And the only way that sometimes we're going to get that muscle is by experiencing and overcoming adversities yourself and on your own, and that is without the help of anyone else.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. We can give it up for that. Sean, your platform and what you do as far as the reach, what has been some of the challenges and that you have faced growing this platform? Because obviously you're growing it, but there's also a sense of, man, I wish I maybe could have gone a little further or whatever. When did you get to a point where, you know what, this is now my sport, this is now my why? How did you navigate that to put all your passion into Orange Arrow?
Yeah, there was a period of time I was like really down, depressed, and I started to ask my question to myself, what do I want my legacy to be? Like, what do I want people to say about me when I'm no longer here on this earth? And so that helped motivate me to create something that would last beyond me. And thinking about the things that are important to me and the people who are important to me, and it's the sports and the combination of young people. And so building a community where people are like-minded and help them develop is something that I leaned into. And the success and the motivation comes in the appreciation and the growth of young people. So we built a community where our models, where we train college student athletes on our success skills curriculum. They go out to local elementary, middle schools. They become off-field performance coaches. So it's the college athletes talking to their younger self. And to think about it, that's really amazing, is that I had an idea of the impact we would have on the young people, like the 10 and 13-year-old elementary, middle school. I did not know the impact we would have on the college students. Because as you know, in order to teach something, to lead something, you got to learn and you start to internalize it as well. And so we start to see them grow personally as well. And so that's the motivation. And so from Pitt to UCLA to North Carolina Central to NC State is really encouraging, affirming, hearing the appreciation, and to the point where like to be able to grow where I don't no longer have to be there, but the Orange Arrow impact is still happening.
Wow, thank you. That's great. Lawrence, you know when you strike a deal, and the Vice President of Business Development, when you strike those deals and all these things that you're bringing into the Washington, D.C. area, the thing that stands out to me is that last part of your bio when it says you created and CEO of Ham Camp, a nonprofit basketball and life skills camp based in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, offered free of cost to the city youth since 2009. Could you just talk about that part as you're in those deals and things happening on the billions and $1 million level? It's that CEO of your camp and how you've been able to make an impact in that area, how that has fulfilled you internally.
Absolutely. Just like some of the comments earlier, all of us used to be young and impressionable. So one of the challenges that I had were there were some folks that I looked up to when I played when I was younger. And I realized that I really wish they would have poured into me and gave me more insight. Won't say names, but there was a gentleman I was talking about yesterday where he had played in the NCAA Final Four from my same high school, played on the same court, same coaches. He would come back to open gym, but he would really just rough us up. Never really sat down and talked to us and really told us what it was like to be on national television, to live in that world. And I know, as I went through my career, I was like, I'm going to be the guy that goes back and talks to my younger self and say, this is what it's like to be on national television. This was like to do a post-game interview, right, to win or lose. And here's how I trained. So with the camp, it kind of gave me an opportunity to give all of that back to the community which I grew up in. And I wanted it to be something that it's not the kid's fault whether or not the parent had money or not. If you look at some of the major camps of some major superstars around the country, the parent pays $700, the superstar is only there for one day, they come and do autographs and leave, right? That's not an interactive experience to really help that child feel one with that athlete. So again, I didn't play on the highest level, but in my world, in that gym, they could look to me as for guidance. So we made sure with our staff that we were able to sit with them, give them real life skills. So we teach girls and boys how to tie ties. We have SAT prep conversations. I majored in communication and English, so we talk about first impression, shaking hands, looking people in the eye, all the things that they're most likely going to need if they're an athlete, but even more importantly, afterwards. So most people are not going to be the next LeBron James, so how do we use that as a draw and then teach them all of the things they need to learn along the way? And we've had some successful athletes come through that camp. One really famous one, his name is Michael Parsons. If you look online, he actually talked about me on NFL the other day, which was pretty cool. But no, giving back is what it's about. When we make it, we always have to pour back into the youth.
Okay, all right.
More of my students, my guys, give it up for Braden and Nicholas. Braden and Nicholas. I feel like a proud dad. I'm going to be very, very honest. I love our black men, and I love pouring into them. And they came into my class, and I know they didn't know what hit them. And I said, look, by the time we finish, you're going to be wearing suits and ties. And they're just like, what? I was like, that's all I ever know, right? And I don't care if it's an intro to oral communication class. By the time you leave here, you're going to know how to play the part, how to read the room. And so I said, all I want you all to do is come ready for the presentation. And this is what they came up with. All right. Go ahead, Braden.
All right. Hello, my name is Braden Pullins. I am a freshman majoring in computer science with a focus in cybersecurity and a member of Professor Holder's oral communications class. My question to any of the practitioners is, a lot of students struggle balancing school, work, family responsibilities, and social life. What are some realistic ways students can protect their mental health while still trying to succeed?
So I think I want both of you ladies to answer that, and then the guys, I'm going to ask you to answer Nicholas's question. So go ahead.
Ways that you can protect your mental health. The first thing I'm going to say is this, because I've been thinking about this all day long, not that I knew you were going to ask that question, but this is probably the most important conversation that you'll ever have, right? And so I want to first say that it is absolutely critical. I'm only talking to the young people. So it is absolutely critical that you decide to put yourself first. Let me say that again, because a lot of times we put basketball first, football first, training, breakfast, all of these things when we wake up in the morning. But you have to make a conscious decision that this is going to be my time, is non-negotiable. You need to learn now how to not negotiate your time. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, work up from 5 to 10 to 15. You have to do that now. I want to kind of bask in that space right this minute, because life is going to come fast and hard. And if you do not learn to focus on yourself, ladies specifically, you will move into family and children and grandchildren, and you'll always be putting everybody before yourself. Gentlemen, you'll get married and now you have children and a wife and all the things, and you'll still be pouring out to everyone else except for yourself. So there are a whole lot of things that you can do, but I really want to plant my feet in the space where we have got to learn how to prioritize ourselves first. And if you learn it early, then as you get older, it becomes a non-negotiable. It's almost like the emotional intelligence skill, the emotional skill. If you start strengthening the skill right now, strengthen the emotion right now, strengthen the opportunities right now to say, no, thank you. Listen, you're interrupting my 5 minutes. No, listen, technically from 8 to 8:15 a.m., that's my time. Oh, wait a minute, I have to be on the court by 6:30. Okay, I need to get up a little earlier because my 15 minutes is more important to me than the entire day. So if you start doing that now, you won't have to worry about learning how to do it later.
Doc?
I think it's important to understand that you can't exist in every space at the same time.
Ooh, say that again for the people in the back.
You cannot exist in every space at the same time. And I think social media and technology and the possibility of being in all these different spaces simultaneously kind of creates the facade as if you can be doing all these things at once. And I think that it also a healthy person is fully integrated. And I think that it's so important that, we can easily become fragmented in ourselves, our identities. We're splitting ourselves. We end up developing these kind of codependent personalities where you feel like you have to do things for other people. You have to say yes. And you shut down what it is that you need to do for yourself. You no longer hear your voice, but you're hearing the criticism or the consequences that will come as a result of not showing up for this, that, and the other. It is so important that you really hear yourself, and also you prioritize your time. You will have competing demands, and it's important to go and look, to evaluate, write out your schedules. Take a look at, okay, what needs to be done. Know and prepare. I have a planner that I use, and I mean, it's almost as if my life, my time, and my schedule depends on it. But I tell a lot of the athletes that I work with, and I don't encourage using the cell phone to write your plans out, but like literally having a planner where you write out your time and your schedule, you know where you need to be, and then don't overextend yourself. No is a complete sentence, and it's not a bad word, and you're not being mean for not doing certain things. So when you really are just able to understand that it's okay to prioritize yourself, and there's many things that you will have to say no to, you will have to make sacrifices, you can find that you feel healthier, and then ask for help, get support. If you're not good at it, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm disorganized, this isn't my strength. Just as they were speaking here at Bowie State, you have the counseling center. You have a free service and resource that is available for you. Utilize it.
Amen. Amen. Mr. Nicholas.
Majoring in biology, and I'm also a member of Bowie State's football team. One of the questions I want to ask is, what changes would you like colleges or athletic programs to make to better support mental health of student athletes?
Sean, that's for you. These students came up with these questions on their own. This is what they want to hear. Yes. Tell them.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, and President mentioned earlier, like providing resources to the student athletes and making it a priority, and really focus on the actual individual, the person. They're going to be a person longer than they're going to be an athlete. And so having forums, having time off, right? Having time off and giving them resources they need to be able to navigate this ever-changing world. I mean, with NIL and everything that's happening, social media, they're dealing with a lot. And while we talk about it, we got to be more intentional about it. So I would love to see the colleges and universities be more intentional about it, be able to create space where they can talk about it, where they can learn. And if they need to take a break, we're going to cancel practice. Let's surprise them. Yeah, they need a little mental break. The coaches need time off as well. And so we just go, and not take care of themselves. So I would like for colleges and universities to be really intentional about it and loud and proud about it.
Lawrence?
I would just add two cents to that is, I think coaches, it starts with them, right? They can't teach and support mental health if they aren't pushed by the institution to have it as well. Like I said, I've had some coaches that, their livelihood was determined by kids, right? They can yell, scream all day to the players, and if it doesn't equate to a win, their families may be uprooted and moved. So I think the coaches, obviously, in addition to the players, there needs to be a focus on their mental health so that they can be the proper leaders to the student athletes.
All right. Amen. So again, I thank all four of you for carving out the time. Again, we can't talk about everything, but my goal was to do my part just to start the conversations. Again, for everybody, these four people will be around to talk more, but I just wanted to know that these are the community leaders. These are the people that are actually talking about stuff that's not named Naomi Osaka or Michael Phelps, all these. I mean, we need to all have these conversations in our little spaces. So thank you so much for doing this just because I asked you to. You believed in what I was doing, and you carved out your time, and I thank you. Thank you so much. Photographer. All right, we're looking right there, guys. We're looking right there. All right, thank you. Peyton, you're up. Peyton, you're up. Peyton, you're up. Thank you, gentlemen. You all look real, real good. Remember, our finals tomorrow. This was not the final, and this was not extra credit either. All right? All right.
For a very special, powerful, thought-provoking, parents' perspective, one-on-one discussion, please welcome Dana Butler. Dana Butler served as the Deputy Resources Manager for the Engineering Business Branch and the Directorate Resources Manager for the Safety and Mission Assurance (SM&A) branch at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Dana oversaw institutional resources for S&A as well as a multi-billion-dollar engineering contract portfolio for the Engineering and Technology Directorate. She retired January 9th, 2026 with 37 years of dedicated service in the federal government. Dana began her remarkable journey as NASA as a cooperative educational student at just 17 years old. Dana is a proud mother of 3 accomplished Division I athletes, each of whom received full athletic basketball scholarships. Tiara to Syracuse University, Tasia to James Madison University, and Terrence to Drexel University. In 2023, Dana faced unimaginable personal tragedy with the loss of her 21-year-old son, Terrence, to suicide, followed by the loss of her mother just 22 days later. In the wake of her profound loss, Dana and her 2 daughters have turned pain into purpose by aligning themselves with the mental health awareness movement and have committed to saving lives one shirt at a time. Their beautifully designed You Matter shirts served as a reminder of hope.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peyton. Let's give it up for Peyton. She did a wonderful job as the MC today. Dina, this is everything that I did today was leading up to this moment right here. And I thank you for agreeing to do this. Full disclosure, this is the first time that Dina is actually talking about what happened in her family by herself. It's been with family members and things of that nature, but the loss of her child and the way it happened, I just prayed on it and I said, I think that you telling your story is going to help a lot of people. How would you like for it to go down? And she said, Lou, I'm so glad that you called me because God was speaking to me about just that. I first want you to stand up and show the shirt so everybody can talk about the shirt. Again, this is a shirt that you have designed with your girls in the back. Terrence, yeah.
So we designed this shirt because Terrence was a highly functional, depressed person. And you couldn't see that he was depressed. And so we were just kind of thinking how many people are in your proximity right here that are going through something and you don't know. They might not want to talk to their family members. They might not even know what resources are out there. But if we wear these shirts like we wear everybody else's brand, we can put this information out there to them. If they're going through and they just remember, oh, somebody had 988, let me just dial that. The other thing about the shirt is we want people to know that you do matter. There's a lot of loss in my family because of Terrence, meaning a lot was taken from us because he passed away, because he killed himself. And so we're still dealing with that. But Terrence was highly intelligent, just a beautiful soul, kind and thoughtful. He was just everything to us. And so when this happened, we were completely devastated. And so I didn't go out starting a nonprofit, not to say anything about that. I just wanted to say, how do I get the resources out there in the streets right now? So we're just going to build this shirt, and then we're going to bring some friends over, and we celebrated after 1 year of his passing. All my friends and family came over, and they got a shirt. And so this shirt has been worn in Japan. It has been worn in Canada. It has been worn at Disney in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, all around the DMV. It has been worn in mental institutions. And so it's getting out there, and if that's what we had to do, then we succeeded, saving lives one shirt at a time.
Amen. Amen. So again, I thank you for the courage and the courageousness to come up here by yourself. You did tell me it's about time that I did this, and I am so thankful that you entrusted me with this honor of letting you speak for the first time about it. So again, this mental health, emotional wellness, it goes beyond socioeconomic, it goes beyond race, it goes beyond we are both part of the Bishop McNamara High School family, and it rocked our whole community because Terrence was loved by so many, and Terrence came from one of those very, very warm and loving households that it's just mind-boggling what could happen. So I think I need to start there as a good interviewer, just asking you, one, how are you doing? And two, where did you start second-guessing yourself? Like, what did you do wrong? Because everything looked like it was okay until it wasn't, and you didn't know.
Well, first of all, I'm retired now, and so I've been retired for coming up on a year. And all I've had to do is sit with my thoughts. As a leader, I'm leading an organization, and so all of that is a distraction to what's going on with me personally. But now that I'm home, this is all I think about. And so with Terrence, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, wow, I come from a background that would have made that decision, not him. I prided myself on doing just the opposite of what I came from. I came from an alcoholic family. I came from poverty. I came from a place where I never heard I love you. I came from a place where I never called a man daddy. My biological father did not raise me. And so I came from not knowing my value. And so when I started having kids, I was living in Waldorf, Maryland, and one of the thoughts that dropped in my head was, Lord, please help me not to mess these kids up. And so from there, I was on a mission to do right by my children. Everything that my mother did to me, you do what I say, or children don't ask questions, I did just the opposite. Let them ask questions. Everything that my parents did to me, I was parentified at 10 years old. So I was the designated driver at the age of 10, driving up down 210, which is Indian Head Highway. I didn't know that road until I became an adult, to know that was the situation that I was put in. And so everything about raising my children was, if they want to understand something, we're going to explain it. We're not arguing in front of them. They're going to know about Christ. They're going to know about church. I gave them a coin when they started going to school, and it said, one side of the coin said praises, the other side said rejection. And I said, the same person that praises you is going to be the same person that rejects you. And if you don't know your value, you're going to fall. And so I was purposeful in everything I did with my kids. And so fast forward, thinking now, it's like I taught my kids, we would talk, we got these family group chat messages, and because I had 2 D1 athletes to go before Terrence, I already understood what those challenges were. My 2 kids are Hall of Famers in Charles County at North Point High School, so they've been in the game for a long time. So when we talk basketball, it's something that's a normal conversation for us. All of them have been injured. All of them have gone through. And so by Terrence coming behind them and we having conversations, it's just normal for us. You know, you get hurt, let's talk about it. The coach is acting like this, well, let's talk about it. It wasn't not once that I thought that my son was in such a state because we had been doing this. And so when I think about what happened, I don't blame myself because I was a good mother. I know how I show up in a room. So I never blamed myself. But the thought that I had was, when I go back and look at all the text messaging, all the conversations we had, I taught my kids how to communicate, how to talk, how to open your mouth. And Terrence was opening his mouth. He was saying in his text messaging, Terrence had injuries. And so what he said was, he was medically retired before his junior year. And he said, I know my identity, but I can't help from feeling worthless because now the game is over. He said it in a text message. So that was one thing I saw. Another thing he had talked to some ministers at the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, which is a program at Drexel. So he was sharing what was going on in his mind there. Then one day I picked him up from school. We were driving home and he says, Mom, you were my hope. I didn't know what to put that to. I could have put that to anything like, oh, his injuries, Mom was there, I was at his surgery, you know, I'm on the bench supporting him even though he's not playing. So I didn't know to tie that to this is what he's in despair. And then he told somebody he felt like a burden. And then when he came home that weekend before he passed, his body language was kind of somber. I still cooked him breakfast, I cooked him lunch, we ate together, we watched movies. But he had came home to say goodbye and also to come get my firearm. So I'm fast forwarding to tell you that we didn't know the signs. I was saying that it was stealth. We didn't know that that was coming. But the real deal is we were ignorant and not knowing what the signs were. And I feel like we failed him because when I go back and I look at all the signs, he was high functioning. The way I look and the way I appear to people, that is not an indication. You cannot measure the way I look and use that as a reliable measure of my mental stability. My son was a stallion. He walked and talked and he was highly functional and he was in a space. But when I go back and I look at all the things that you will see from somebody who's in that space, outside, there's no sound, but he was saying the language. When I look at the list, he has said at least 5 things on that list out his mouth. The word of God says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I didn't know that. And I could have helped him had I known that this is what suicide sounds like. You're going to hear these words, worthless. You're going to hear hopeless. You're going to hear burden. You're going to see them isolating. I go in his room, he appears to be reading the Bible, so it looks like he's busy. That's one of the things, to isolate, to look busy. You're not busy. You just want to be away from people. And the last one that kind of blew my mind was when they get to the end, their mood is just cold and stone and calm. Now that I don't have all of this stuff competing in my mind, I can see all of that happening. He came to my house and he sat down and he's an introvert anyway, but he was stoned. And so I'm saying that I didn't fail him because I wasn't a good mom and I didn't teach him stuff. I failed him from the perspective that I have athletes and I didn't know. So it was ignorance from my part that I couldn't help him. And so what I learned was there's this law, it's called the Family Educational Rights Practice Law. And what it says is when your kids get to college, that there's this form, this waiver, where you can turn over, your kid can turn over his rights to records, to safety, everything back to the parents, because when they go to college, everything, they move from the parent to the child. And so in my mind, he's a child. And he spoke to somebody who was in a leadership position, who was in a counseling position, who was in a ministerial position. And that person, the conversation didn't go past that person. So we failed him. Once out of negligence, I don't have to really talk to you. That's not how he said it, but I talked to Terrence. Terrence is a grown man. So from that perspective, we failed him from that area. And then the other area is just not being educated to know what it looks like, what it sounds like. And so I just want y'all to know, when y'all send y'all kids out and you do everything that you can in your power. My kids grew up in a good home, a loving home, total opposite from what I came from. I purposely did not pull my kids into conversations that was above their age or had nothing to do with them. If I had a grown folk conversation, I had it with the grown folk. Because in my mind, when I was a kid, I was always put in a position where I had to think like I was an adult and do all of these things. And so when I think about the story and the mindset I have now with the capacity, I said, wow, I wonder how much of me showed up in my son. Perfectionism was another one. I'm a perfectionist. High functioning. I function at a high level. I go to work. I'm at a high level of work. I don't have the degree. I started as a GS1 and landed at the top at the GS15 because I'm high functioning. I started having kids, so I purposely did not do things that would keep me from taking care of my kids. And me going back trying to get my degree because I did X, Y, and Z, I knew that they was going to suffer because I suffered. So I was things that I did as a parent. So when I think about what happened, I'm like, wow. You would have thought I made that decision, not Terrence. Even in you doing everything that you can do, it doesn't mean that something's not going to happen. And so what I'm doing, what me and my girls are doing, just getting the information out there that you matter. We have been suffering, you know. It's been 3 years. Is Todd still here? So Todd and I was in the same grief share when his son was murdered. Is T here? His wife not here? So yeah, we was in the same, and it's been hard. Even though it's been August the 2nd, coming on August 2nd, it'll be 3 years. And it's been devastating, very devastating, so, yeah.
So, again, your courage to come up here and speak candidly is why I literally brought all these people in this room. We can talk all about X's and O's and the Jimmys and the Joes and all that other stuff, but it's the experiences. And so for me, besides the shirts and besides that, what would you like to tell the parents now that you are starting to get your thoughts together? Signs, or maybe not even signs, but what would you like to tell the audience about do this or be very intentional about this because it could help you?
I would say if a situation lands in your lap, it landed there for a reason. And it's not for somebody next to you to do something about it. If somebody comes to you and they say they're having an issue, your child, it landed in your lap. Don't pass the buck, because the child had enough courage to come to you because they trust you. When I'm learning about my son trusted this person that he came to talk to. My son told him, I don't want you to talk to the coach about this. That should have told that person right then and there, there's something going on right there where Terrence doesn't want him to want to talk to the coach. So who do I go to next? Even though you have that law, you're supposed to be able to use your best judgment to go past that. Oh, this person is saying they're suffering. Then what do? I can't take it lightly. I have to be, every situation that falls in your lap, take it seriously, because it took somebody courage to come and say what they said to you. So if it lands on me, that means God want me to do it.
Yeah, yeah. The timeline of, could you kind of take us through maybe the best you can? Was it there struggling with playing time, injuries, or because we had talked about that before with the young man recently this past week that made that decision? Was injuries and not feeling that he could play at a level, was that something that either you saw and noticed, or that he actually confided in somebody that he couldn't get back to where he was when he was at Bishop McNamara playing?
So, yeah, starting at Bishop McNamara, Terrence was leading scorer, 4.2 GPA, McDonald's All-American nominee, most valuable player. I mean, he was incredible. He had already had a surgery, a torn meniscus in the 8th or 9th grade. So that was his first injury. When he got to McNamara, he had another torn meniscus. When he got to Drexel, he tore it again. So he had 3 tears in one leg and a tear in another leg. So he was completely sidelined by injuries, to the point where they decided to medically retire him, and just basically was telling him that as you get older, these injuries are going to bother you. If you want any type of quality of life, you might not want to keep going through this, because his body was pretty much failing him from that perspective. I don't know what he felt or how they treated him. You know, again, I understand what was said up here. These coaches, this is their livelihood. If they don't win, they lose their job. Terrence, we gave you an opportunity, but next, you know. But they did honor his scholarship. So I thought that was great. They honored his scholarship, but I'm not sure how he felt coming from McNamara and being this player to come into college and not being the star. You know, he wasn't one who liked a lot of attention, but I'm sure that there was some type of transition in there where I was good enough to get here, so why I'm not playing? You know, but my girls went through that. They were stars in Charles County, and then when college came, it was a whole different ball game. And so he went through that as well. So I think that he took that really hard. And I think that some of the conversations that they're having with our children when they go off to school, it may be a little too heavy for them to handle, because their brains are not completely developed. You know, us as an adult, if you tell me that I'm getting a pink slip and I can't do this anymore, I'm an adult and I'm feeling crushed. And you're going to tell a kid that all he knows is basketball. They're all gifted athletically and academically, so he could have succeeded anywhere, but this is what he was doing. And so I think that when he said in his text message, I know my identity, because he loved the Lord. I know my identity, but dang, this feeling of worthlessness because of all of this is happening. It was a lot on his mind. It was a lot, and I think it was a lot for him to try to take on. And he was talking, and we didn't hear him. Yeah. We didn't hear him. He was speaking up, but we didn't hear him.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed because of the lack of knowledge. And I think a good way to, I'm so proud of you, I think a good way to land this particular interview is talking about your faith in God. How is, I know you've had some real hard conversations with our Lord. Maybe some not worthy to spend here, but again, how have you grown in your faith, and what can you tell people who are struggling? I say that because, and he wouldn't mind me saying that, Todd is really struggling. I had to bring him to, I wanted to come to a men's conference, and Todd Bozeman said to me, he said, Lou, I'm not feeling God right now. He said, why would he let that happen to my kid? And I didn't push him. My pastor, John K. Jenkins, said, witnessing is just, being there, your presence versus your presence. And so I just let him be. But slowly but surely, he's coming out and talking. I had him talk a couple of times, and he's shown up. And little by little, I think he's getting to a place where he can actually lift his hand in praises in some way, shape, or form. Where is that for you as far as your relationship with God?
So let me tell you this. I love the Lord. I absolutely love the Lord, and I know the Lord loves me. Because that moment when that happened, we got to Philly. And when I say God met me in that space, I can't even explain it. I was crushed, and I could feel the Lord holding me at the same time. We didn't know what happened, but we were in a circle, and we just worshiped. And in my mind, I thought, devil, you thought this was going to push me from God? It strengthened me. It strengthened me. And so I am so in a place to say, God, who am I that you would trust me with this level of pain? Because you know who I am, and you know what you put in me. And it's that pain that didn't punish me, it expands me. Whenever I'm put in a situation, I know how to fight. And that's what I did. Come on, devil, shoot your best shot. God is still going to get the glory. For 21 years, I had the best kid. And I was entrusted to care for people. Remember I told you, God, please help me don't mess up these kids. And I think he helped me do just that. I had beautiful children. They were all successful. I still believe today that I am a great mom. And I did everything I was supposed to do. And I'm saying, God, thank you. Because you allowed me to take care of these kids. You gave me gifts, and you brought me closer to you. So to God be the glory.
Amen. Amen. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Dina, I thank you. You have blessed so many people in this room that you don't even know. And again, I'm appreciative that you let me be the first one. And you continue to do what saith the Lord, because people need to hear how to get to the other side of grief, how to recognize signs, and how to comport yourself in dignity when you are hurting inside. And it's not just happening in sports. We all know about that beauty pageant queen a couple of years ago that jumped off the building in New York. We see corporate executives. When that pressure is so, people are walking around and they are not really understanding what is going on. And the signs afterwards, it's just like now it's, you're rehearsing in your mind. But I am from the shirts, and again, I don't know how many, but Dina brought shirts for everybody.
Yes, everybody gets a shirt tonight.
Shirts for everybody. She's serious about this. She said, "Can I bring shirts?" I was like, "Bring them all!" Bring them all. Bring them all. I want everybody, this group and whoever's watching, we're going to be the ones to start and help you and your daughters with your You Matter shirts in your campaign. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I need a picture. Where's my photographer? Where y'all at? Come on. Come on, team. Where you? Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 3, 2. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Thank you again, Dina, for your courage to speak. And again, Dina will be here to talk to anybody who wants to hear more, get knowledge. Again, my people are destroyed because of a lack of knowledge. So she's a walking testimony, and we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this calendar year has come with some tremendous loss to the HBCU, CIAA, and Bowie State University families. Just yesterday, one of my mentors and one of my confidants, the iconic, legendary play-by-play voice for black college sports, Charlie Neal, transitioned. And I told my wife, he got me, he believed in me in certain spaces, even as a Emmy Award-winning broadcaster. Charlie Neal believed in me in so many ways that he had me on HBCU Go, and I didn't do play-by-play for a long, long time, and he's like, yeah, just do it. You got the professionalism to do it. And he gave so many people opportunities, and he just passed yesterday. And earlier this year, a long-time and beloved Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics and Recreation, Clyde Dowdy, took his eternal rest. Every time I think I've cried the last tear about Cool Mac, another one appears. I miss that man so much. We talked all the time, and he's the reason why I'm here at Bowie State University. He told me a long, long time ago, he saw me what I was doing in the community, he said, you should bring it here. And he said, you should talk to Dr. Bro. And I did, and the rest is history. And it was my honor to officiate over his campus memorial service. Again, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing here if he didn't urge me to use my platform to help the people here at Bowie State University. Clyde loved this school, and he loved everybody in it. But he really loved his coaches, his staff, and the student athletes. Many are in the crowd today. Could you all please stand? The athletic department, coaches, players, administrators, thank you so much for being here. Clyde would have loved this conversation, so I wanted to honor him, and I'm so grateful that his son Andre came down from New York this morning just so he could be a part of this celebration. And so Andre's here, and I asked him to come, and I thought no better way to honor his life of service to the whole athlete, not just the physical ability, than to have Competitive Edge EQ founder Lisa Leonard, a Bowie State alumni athlete, to make a special presentation. So would Lisa and Andre come here, please?
So before we go to this point, I need to take like just 2 minutes because the last 20 minutes you've been able to experience the work that we do, the emotions that you've experienced while hearing Dina's story, not her story, her experience, her journey, the journey of her family, it further solidifies the need for you, for us, to lean in to that emotional development work. Whether it's with someone or on your own, it's really important. Like this, I can't convey enough. Just like you like J's, just like you like Roblox or whatever, what is it called, Roblox? Just like you like Atlanta Housewives, just like you like all these things, it is so incredibly important that you lean into yourself and do the work and acknowledge who you are and honor who you are and give yourself grace and all of these things, because this is the one body that you get. You only come this way once. So this is to the young people. Create the time. Give yourself the gift of time to take care of yourself. It's to the older people too, but younger people got more years in front of them than we do. So as a Bowie State alum, I have to say that again, Bowie State University alum. I haven't been on campus in a long time. So for me, this is an incredible opportunity to leave the community better than I found it. I now have the opportunity to do that. We had the pleasure of meeting Clyde to talk about competitive edge. And so we want to make sure that we honor him in the most incredible way that we can, particularly for me as alum. So our organization has what we call the Community Legacy Awards. This year, it will be right here in this room, where we will honor Mr. Dowdy with the Community Legacy Award.
Could you come more into the light, please? Appreciate you. That was right here. All right, right here. All right, 3, 2, 3, 2. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, to conclude this program, I hope it's been a blessing to a lot of people. Again, I know we couldn't solve, I know we couldn't get to everything, but that wasn't the plan here. The plan was to start the conversations. Whether there's a part 2 or part 3, or whether you are having your own conversations going back to talk about it, that was my goal, to start the conversations. To have more in-depth conversations in your small areas about how we can combat mental health, how we can prioritize mental health, and how we can see the signs and move forward. Again, I thank all my speakers who came. Everybody showed up, and I thank you so much for taking the time to help me do this work. I'd like to thank my family, all my friends, my wife, my daughter who's graduating next week from Bowie State University. All the people from my church, First Baptist Church of Glen Arden, my McNamara family, my Bowie TV family, Candy Waller's here, Rose is here. I see so many people. Sherry's here from the chamber. I see now. When I told you that I used to play soccer, I have some of my college friends here. Chitty's in the back. He saw me when I was many pounds ago. I have friends all over the place that have come to help celebrate. I have my students from Prince George's Community College that have come. I see some people here, and just so many. Eton brought his whole family out here. Malcolm, it's good seeing you. It's good seeing you guys. It's just, everybody has just been a blessing to help fill this room. Again, Dr. Musu, thank you so much for your leadership. Lenny, thank you so much for supporting Lisa and what she's doing. So many things have happened. I do want to give a huge shout out to Annette Wedderburn, who is in charge of events here. When I talk about a rock star, when I talk about the wind beneath the wings, Annette Wedderburn has been there. Bowie, BSU TV. I definitely want to thank you for everything that you've done with the photography and the images that you are going to get. And so there's just so many people that have made this happen. But I want to conclude this program, and I've asked Dr. Jaleesa Williams, Interim Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics and Recreation, to make some final remarks. Jaleesa, yeah. Brent Swinton, I see you. I see you. Who else is back there? Who else is back there? I can't see. Who else is back there? Oh, Karen. Okay. Step away from the light, guys. I can't see. There you go. Oh, there's Karen. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Once again, my name is Dr. Jaleesa Williams, and I have the privilege of serving as Interim Vice President for Athletics and Recreation here at Bowie State University. I just simply want to say thank you all for your support, but also, Lou, thank you for putting this together. I want to give a special shout out to our student athletes that are here, my coaching staff. Thank you for getting them here. This is a great opportunity for our student athletes to be exposed, and hopefully they were able to take away some nuggets to help them as they navigate through being a student athlete here, but also life after being a student athlete and what that looks like. In addition to that, once again, I just want to say thank you. Obviously, this year has been this year has been really, really difficult. Me personally, obviously, with the loss of VP Dowdy, from a personal standpoint, but also from a professional standpoint, it is not easy being in the seat. And you talk about a man who has done so much, who loves this university to the core. So I do not take being in this role, being in this position lightly. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity, but I'm also very grateful for what VP Dowdy has done to lay the lands, but also now it is my responsibility and my honor to carry on his legacy, and I'm going to do just that. So thank you all. Lou, thank you so much for the opportunity, and God bless.
Terrence, I see you. Terrence, I see you from Pits and Push, and Maggie, I see you as well. I see so many people in here that have helped me come celebrate. Again, Dina has shirts for everybody, but if I could have, for a photo op, all the guest speakers come up so we can hold up these shirts. That would be a powerful image that Dina would like us to have. So all the guest speakers that are still here, Eton, Lawrence, Dr. Daniels, Lisa, who else is still? Josh. Okay, so the only one who had to dip out was, is Sean still here, or did he just have, Sean, so the only ones that couldn't make it is Todd, okay. You got the shirts? Just bring up any shirts so we can just pull up for the photo op, and then you can, just bring up enough shirts so we can do this photo op. Jason, I see you. I see you.
Thank you.
Who else?
Not for long. Thank you. I received it. No, I'm gonna do the back. Shot to the back. Okay. Which one you want, the front or the back?
Brent Swinton, I see you.
You stay right here. You want me to do the back? No, you do the back and I do the back. Okay.
Everybody leave with a shirt if you can. Everybody leave with a shirt. Students, I thank you so much. My oral communication and Peyton Swinton. Give it up for them, please, for all the work that you did. Y'all did great. I'm so proud of you. Can I get a group photographer? Can I get a group picture? Hey, Jaylee Kent. You had it. All right. Coach Pam is here. 1, 2, 3, full speed. Photographer, I need a picture with my students. Where's the photographer at? Photographer, come over here, over here. Y'all did awesome. Y'all did awesome. Where do you want us?
That's everything. Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you.
How are you, Megan? I miss you so much and I love you. My name's Megan. I just showed up. I was able to end my last meeting, but I just wanted you to let Lawrence know that I'm watching him. I have eyes everywhere. I'm watching him at all times. And